I feel like we're waiting for something. Like we're waiting for something to happen now. Something's gonna happen soon.
I don't know, dude. I feel like we've watched the same episode of this show for like 6 straight weeks.
Right?
Nothing has changed. It starts off the same way. You get the same dynamics. You get the same sit downs with the same people. And then at the end, you get a little bit of a fight.
But something's gonna happen soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Scoot in my boot. What's up, dude?
Ooh, that sounds dirty.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be.
Nope, but now it is. Not a lot. Going into this Beverly Hills episode, we started off the exact same way as we always have.
Yep.
And I, figuratively speaking, I guess mentally, I threw my hands up in the air. Like, here we go again. This is going to be the same thing. It was better.
It was
a
better.
little bit better. But I still stick to what I said in our opening. It feels like we've watched the same episode every single time. You get a Bose Dorit sit down of some kind, a Sutton Garcel sit down of some kind. Kyle and Mauricio provide some sort of update on what's going on in their lives.
Erika Jane's house.
How could we miss that?
Erika
Jane's
house.
living room. Erika Jane's cabana. Erika Jane's this. Wallpaper. Straight lines. That's what we're talking about.
This is
She's
a
in
good time to announce Shooter's new hit single, Wallpaper, Straight Lines.
Yeah.
By MC Goots.
That would fucking hit.
Wallpaper,
You put a good beat over that would hit all day. I would probably get sued by Erika or her designer, but whatever. That's fine. I'll take it. You know,
If you get sued for Wallpaper, Straight Lines.
that would be a crazy lawsuit.
We're still waiting to catch a first case for libel.
This is the problem. Is like I feel like for a lot of shows going on, a lot of the Housewife shows, a lot of the other Bravo shows that we cover, we dilly-dally a little bit and then we just pop into it. We're like, we've got too much to cover. There's a lot to get over. We need to make sure that we go over all the details and give our opinions. For this show, it's like we're going to spend 5 minutes talking about Erika's house and making jokes.
Yeah.
And we're not losing any time.
No, but it's a good time to discuss the silver linings.
I thought that was going to be like an ad marker. It's a good time to discuss
Yeah.
our friends over.
Our friends over at it's a good time to discuss silver linings. Here's the bummer of the season is that I agree with you. This was better than last week. Last week wasn't bad. This week wasn't bad. It just
bad.
is.
Yeah, it
just
is. Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
It
sure.
becomes negative if there's too much.
Eventually, yeah. This was that point. If next week doesn't pick up, which it looks like it will because Sutton pops off on the boat. But the silver linings of this season, and why it's a bummer that it's happening now, is we're getting more from Kyle than we have in years.
Right.
Years. And she's finally addressing the most stuff. It appears to be authentic. She's actually digging deep and letting us in a little bit. So I don't want to take away from what she's doing. I don't want to take away from Bose. I still think that she is an all-star. I'm glad that she's on this show. I don't want to take away, honestly, from a lot of the cast because they're not doing a poor job.
Right.
It's just there's not a lot of context to like dig their teeth into. But overall, it's not like I'm watching anybody in particular, not even Dorit, like rolling my eyes and be like, Jesus Christ, move on. It's just everyone's kind of stagnant.
Yeah, I think that from a structure standpoint, what we're not getting, 4 or 5 of the women at a time, with like 1 or 2 being away.
It's the same clicks.
It's the same clicks over and over, and we know how housewife shows go. When you start to click up, really all we get to look forward to is big events and trips.
Yes.
And then things will pop off because you guys are forced to be together.
Like St. Lucia.
Like St. Lucia, which is, apparently Sutton's going to be popping off on the boat next week, and hopefully that does something for us. But when you do this, it takes away from all of the substance of the show. All of the interactions, all the things that we can discuss, all of the dynamics that go into these shows. It furthers things, it furthers narratives, it furthers storylines, relationships, all of those things. And we're not getting any of that because it's the same type of sit down every single time. And yeah, you've got somebody like Erika Jane that can go to Kyle's house, they can go talk to Garcelle, they can go talk to Sutton, and she can be pleasant and she can mingle with everybody else. But she's got her own thing going on. She's got interior design.
She's got to decorate
She's
her fucking
preoccupied.
house, man.
It takes a lot.
And Martin Lawrence is over there a lot. So it's a lot to put on her plate. I don't know. I mean, I'm not it's just such a strange spot to be in with a housewife
Yeah.
show because I'm not like, fuck this show, but I'm also like,
it does suck that Kyle is giving so much more this year and there's just nothing else going on.
there's nothing to
And I don't
play
want to
on.
sound grumpy. I know that like I always get called out because it's like, oh, Shooter's grumpy today.
This isn't Grumpy Shoots.
I'm not really grumpy. I'm just disappointed in Beverly Hills because like Steele said, it's not bad.
It just is.
It's just there. It's not something that I look forward to watching, but I'm still going to watch it.
Yes.
Because it's Beverly Hills.
And
if it
I'm
was any
not-
other show, I'd be like, eh.
Yeah, but I'm also not watching it like mad. I'm like, oh, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, sure. All right, we're seeing some things. I'm like, all right, that's nice.
Better than them doing like the inorganic fights where
It
they
is.
set things up for themselves.
Which is that's a great point that we can build on real quick. That's the perfect way to depict what we hate about Bravo shows when they start to take that approach, like, oh shit, it's getting stale.
Yeah.
Let's throw some fabricated bullshit in. I'm glad they're not doing, honestly, I'm glad that they're just
not,
letting
they're
it
just
play
living.
out, which is fine. And like, yeah, I want to see them live at times, but we need the drama sprinkled in, or else we're just watching people live their lives, essentially. Like we're watching a Twitch stream of people living in Beverly Hills.
Things are going in motion. Like you see Garcelle saying things about Sutton and Kyle that typically she wouldn't have said in the last couple of
Right.
seasons.
She's pushing a little bit.
Things are moving so slowly that we have to look at that and say, ooh, all right, we can see where this is going to go. But
Maybe.
we know deep down it's not going to go anywhere fast enough. It's going to be a very slow migration towards that,
Yeah.
maybe, or she's just going to pull back entirely. So there's just not enough. And from our standpoint, obviously, we recap it. It gets tough to talk about when we get the same episode over and over again.
I think that you put it the best when you said that, because it is. This has been a repeat formula, not 6 weeks, but at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been the same exact episode.
Pretty much since Kyle and Dorit, quote unquote, made up.
Since Augusta, it has
Right.
been this format.
Right.
People reconciliating. Reconciling.
Yep.
Reconciliating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sure. Reconciling,
Who's
which
to say that you're not right? Who made up that?
reconciliating.
Who made up that?
I mean, words
pronunciation?
are just a construct of the human mind.
All
Therefore,
words are made up.
exactly.
Yeah.
Therefore, no word is not real.
Yeah. That's why I say name your kids whatever the fuck you want. Who cares?
Yeah, like
Names are made up too.
what did I'm not doing it. I wanted to do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm not gonna do it.
Most names can get made up. There is a point where we stop.
X35.
Yeah, it's robots. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But yeah, look. Everyone wants Beverly Hills to be good, right? It happens every year, but it's starting to get to a point with me where, again, this season's whatever. It's not bad. It's not great. It is what it is.
I think it'll be a short. We'll probably only get about 3 or 4 more episodes. I assume.
Yeah, we're reaching the end.
We'll get maybe 2 episodes in St. Lucia, then 1 back home, and then we're done.
No, because we're on 11 or 12, so there's probably 5 more.
I haven't seen the looks from the reunion yet either.
I would say we're at 5 to go, and then the reunion for 3.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, because we've been doing this for a few years with Beverly Hills, because we started with Beverly Hills. This is our 3rd recap of Beverly Hills. We're getting to a point now where we've been stalling. Everyone watching has been stalling. Everyone's making excuses of, it's Beverly Hills, they'll figure it out. Or they're pressing them harder where it's like, you guys got to figure it out. This is a pivotal point, I think, for this show to make a rebound, because they've yet to do it.
Otherwise, they'll have to recast in some way.
That's what I'm saying. Each season's been kind of ho-hum, and we haven't had a Beverly Hills season that has hit like a Roslick or Potomac. Even this season was leaps and bounds ahead of what we're seeing from this, Miami. I mean, you can keep going because we've gotten a lot of solid housewife shows over the past year. OC was great. So they're now starting to kind of drop on the rankings, which we never would have thought for Beverly Hills. That's supposed to be the peak. But Beverly Hills and Jersey, and maybe that just is what it is. At a certain point with these shows, with these casts, you get to a certain point where it's just that's all they can do. We now have to rethink the whole structure of the show. Look at Atlanta. The season premiere was great.
Right.
And it's a completely new cast for the most part, and they just kind of revamped it, and it worked.
Maybe they need to have term limits.
The term limit on Housewife?
You have to run for housewife office after 5 years of
That'd
being
be
on
kind
the
of
show.
that would actually be funny to watch campaigns to be a
Awesome.
housewife.
That would be incredible.
Campaign trails for
You could make a show off of that.
Dorinda campaigning
Instead
to
of
be a
your
housewife
stupid
again.
ass Housewives Abroad show, which I'm not going to call.
Housewives in London?
Nope, not that one.
Dubai.
Nope. Ultimate Girls Trip. Yeah. Except for that stupid ass show. Instead of that, do a campaign show.
You wanna be back?
all of the women on different shows that are coming to their term limit, that are going abroad, and they need to go around the country to get votes.
Make it a game
And I don't
show.
know what the votes consist of. I don't know how it all works. I will piece it together. If you give me some time and a lot of money, Bravo, I will do it for you. But that sounds so much more fun than all the other shit they're throwing at us.
What if the fans elect 5 former housewives that travel? What? Too many?
I'm not doing this.
I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
No,
I'm
don't do it. Don't do it. Just stay with me here and don't.
Is there a way to verify if these fans are alive or dead?
Yeah, you learn how to read the fucking info that comes from the website instead of assuming
All right.
what you think it means because you don't know what it means. That'd be the better way to do it. Oh, don't.
I didn't do it.
I
I said don't do it to me. You don't get to turn the tables.
Just learn how to read shit, man.
Read, man.
Ugh, get people that know what the fuck they're doing. Anyway,
Reading's cool.
ooh, before I go on that tirade, you get 5 housewives picked by the fans. They have to travel to each city that has a Housewives franchise.
Okay.
And they have to lobby for a spot on the show. And every week, it's a 5-week show.
Yep.
Every week, you have to campaign. And then at the end of the campaign trail for that city, the fans take a vote and you vote out one housewife. And then they go to the next one. You vote out another one. Now there's 3.
So
2,
only one person on.
only one. And
So if your term is coming up,
Yeah.
Now I do think that you can. We're getting really into this. Are we doing this instead of Beverly Hills? Because it seems like we might be. At some point, you can re-sign the contract if somebody is that influential. If somebody's that great, we can all agree. All right, Kyle's term is coming up. She has been showing out on this contract year. I think she's got a lot more to
up for
prove.
re-election.
She goes right away. No. She immediately gets
okay.
signed to a new term.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's like 2 years then. You know, it's a
2-year term
show me deal.
Oh, gotcha.
You know how
I
it
like
goes.
that. Oh, it's one with an option.
We're looking, yes, exactly. We're looking at the housewives that are underperforming, but we still think they might have it.
Okay.
They go on the campaign trail, and if they lose, they lose. There's nothing you can really do. You have to blame yourself.
They're off.
Yeah.
And it's non-negotiable. Yep. And they can re-campaign the following year. But yeah, I like that. I like this idea. We'll call it, what do you call it?
Shit, you can move cities too. Let's start trading.
I still think there's
I still think
there.
trading housewives would be
so
good.
fucking funny.
I am sorry. And look, I know on Beverly Hills, especially with like Erika, we keep asking, we just watched this in Atlanta yesterday. Where's the wealth? Where'd it go? These rich women should be able to afford.
Shamia has it.
Yes,
she has all of
She
it.
has all of it. These rich women should be able to go to a different city and buy a new beautiful house or rent like Meredith does. And then you can live there. And it wouldn't it be so fucking bizarre to watch somebody like Lisa Barlow in Atlanta?
Oh my God, yeah. I would fucking love that.
That would be incredible.
Amazing.
Why not?
Or
We'll just tell her it's a mission trip.
take like Gertie and stick her up in Roni for a season.
Yeah.
Like that would be fun.
That would be great.
I'm down for all of these things, but let's get to the actual episode itself. I think we've wasted enough of your time at home. And we start out, as per usual, with we're at Erika Jane's.
Just a beautiful living room.
Yep, it's a gorgeous.
Look at the way the sun comes in those windows. Oh my Lord.
Unequivocally, yes, it looks great. Martin Lawrence did a wonderful job. No one's refuting it. It looks fantastic. We're glad that you found your spark
Still
again.
a pool house, right?
It is, but I don't care that it's a pool house.
I do. I want wealth.
She's coming back. Look, I'll
Get
give
richer.
Her, I'll give her a pass from that because she's going through a massive lawsuits and a divorce from a crook. I will give her a pass as far as the wealth goes. The fact that she can even afford Martin Lawrence to come in there, what she's been through, props to her.
Are
So
we
I don't
allowed
wanna
to
take
talk
away
about
from
her
that.
lawsuits anymore?
I don't even know what
Seems like
lawsuits
she's
are
still stuck
running
on those. So.
Yeah, she's still pissed off about them. But like I said, Dorit, Erika Jane, and Bose are all talking about the St. Lucia sisterhood trip. Bose is now on board for the sisterhood thing, and it's just so funny. No matter what newcomer comes on to a Housewives show, they always have this idea in their head that this trip is going to be about fun.
Yeah.
This trip is going to be a good time. It's like, this trip's going to be a disaster, Bose.
It's on the newbies rubric. I got a little bit of faith in Bose, and this is what I want from Bose. And I think I said it a couple of weeks ago as well. I want her to be open to everybody.
Yeah,
and
I
not
agree.
just kind of pigeonhole somebody like Sutton. And I'm not saying like I'm being a Sutton stan or anything like that, because honestly, in the last year, it's just Sutton's kind of whatever. I don't think she can carry a show. She is what she is. She's fun at sometimes. She's really not fun at other times. But I want Bose as a newcomer with so much power already, and just really with her personality. I want her to be able to walk into this, have open arms, and I thought that I got a glimmer of that here. When she said, I want to take what Sutton said about the sisterhood, which is somebody that you're not really fucking with right now. I want to take her idea and bring it to everybody, and then we'll go to St. Lucia, and we'll get together, and everything's going to be great. I liked that idea.
I like that idea.
She immediately takes a shot at the fashion show, and I'm like, all right.
I think that was unintentional too. I think it was
fully unintentional.
I think she was like a real fashion
I don't believe
show.
you
It was
anymore.
like, ooh, shit.
I don't believe you anymore.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. But I do have to further that theory. Her getting together with Kyle gives you hope that, okay, maybe she can do the same with Sutton. Like, I agree. And I think that with Bose, she doesn't strike me as walled off to giving people a chance.
No, I don't think so.
Because, like, let's not forget, Sutton shot herself in the foot by going up and say, what did she even say to her? Don't whatever me.
Oh God, she used
the Viper
word.
room.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember what the word was.
No, it wasn't attack. It was shit. Don't weaponize.
Don't weaponize me.
Yeah. Don't weaponize those things against me or something.
No, just don't weaponize me.
Oh,
is what she said. So that's where it's like, all right, she's fighting an uphill battle of her own doing. Exactly. And that's kind of what happens with her.
Really what she said?
She gets uncomfortable and just says things and gets herself in a hole.
You activate something?
Yeah, I don't know. Because it was all about weaponizing before whatever. It's not important. The important thing is
trigger words.
She doesn't do herself any favors, but I do feel like Bose will give people another shot to redeem themselves a little bit. So there's room for that. But you get, at the same time of this scene, you get Garcelle and Sutton talking. I got to mention the Kathy confessional. I called it last week. We had a lot of people resonate with what I said, and her being like, oh my God, I didn't mean to walk in front of the, I'm so wacky. It's like, you're not. It's calculated. You knew what you were doing when you stood in the middle of the runway. You're Kathy Hilton. You've been to a million actual fashion shows for, I'm sure, like Versace, Louis Vuitton. You could name all of them, and I'm sure you've been there at one point or another.
I'm waiting for you to name all of them.
I
wanted to see if you could keep going.
I can. I know a lot of brands.
I know, but I wasn't sure where you were going to stop. If you were going to stop at 2, 3, 4, I was going to have to cut you off.
All right, dude. All right, relax. No, it's just like that whole shtick is played. I don't like it anymore. But Garcelle recaps the Dorit dinner with Sutton. And to Sutton's credit, she's like, can we just put a pause on that and like not talk about it? She's like, oh, I forgot. I asked her about her beef with you. And she was like, you think I have beef with Sutton? And it's like, yeah. In this case, by the way, they both have beef with one another, and arguably both are verified in having that beef with one another. They're valid to have their concerns with each other because they just don't get along at all. But back to Dorit and Erika and Bose, and they're discussing the drinking at the same time that Garcelle and Sutton are discussing the whole drinking thing. It took a turn I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Because Erika's like, well, hold on. I'm like, all right, what do you got to say? She's like,
I thought she was going to defend Sutton for a second.
I did too. I think everybody did.
Yeah.
And she's like, what about me? It's like,
what
about you? And she's like, well, when I was going through what I went through is the lawsuit, the money, the meds, the drinking. And I'm like, all right, it's not really the same thing.
No, this is so
she's
stupid.
accusing Sutton of being an alcoholic. People were saying that you were self-medicating through the ordeal that you were going through.
Yes.
There was a specific time frame.
And it was also an inquiry from Garcelle saying, hey, have you figured out the drinking and the meds? Because you're clearly, it wasn't you need to stop drinking.
She had mentioned that her meds and drinking were fucking her up.
Yeah.
So Garcelle was doing a check-in, like, have you gotten that under
could have said, hey, are you not drinking anymore? And then called you out every time you drank. Then, okay, maybe it would be similar to Sutton. But Sutton's not.
This isn't the same thing.
Yeah,
it just simply is not.
And then I love when the editors go to what Sutton was saying about it. I'm like, well, fucking yeah, of course she was calling her out for the lawsuits. That was Erika's storyline.
Yeah.
That's what she was going through. What are we supposed to do? Sit here and not talk to Kyle about Mauricio?
Yeah, it was.
Like, is Kyle going to bring that up in a couple of years when somebody's talking about someone else? Like, whoa. Have you guys thought about me with Mauricio? Nothing to do with this.
No, it's completely irrelevant to the current conversation, but I will agree with this, that Garcelle defends, and it's hypocritical for Garcelle to then say that Bose is the mouthpiece for Dorit. That we can agree on because every single time Sutton gets into a pinch, Garcelle does stand up for it. That is being a good friend. But when Bose does it, you can't check her for doing the same thing. I don't really have an issue with it.
I don't have an issue with it at all.
It's people speaking on behalf of their friends. Like, I get it. Like, I would stick up for you, though I loathe you sometimes.
I'm just happy that it's not turning into a thing where we're calling it out every single time that somebody does it.
Yeah, we don't
like,
need
we
to
did
do
get
that.
the one check at Dorit's party, and then it kind of put things into perspective, and it looks like Garcelle kind of understands that.
Yeah.
And she says that in this scene, even just like, yeah, you know, I do speak up for you sometimes. Okay, cool. Bose can acknowledge that. You can acknowledge that. Let's move on.
Agreed.
We don't have to do the whole spokesperson thing. I thought that was going to turn into something way worse.
Yeah, it didn't, which I'm glad. But we're back with Garcelle and Sutton, and they're discussing Dorit and Kyle making up, and Sutton's like, well, they fully made up. They're like giggling on the couch, like everything's back to complete normalcy. And you can tell just by her reaction, Sutton doesn't like it, but Garcelle takes it a step further in saying this is going to really bother Sutton because when Dorit and Kyle are cool, there's not as much room for Sutton, and Sutton wants to be Kyle's friend more than anything in the world. And we get even more on that from Sutton later, and I'll save it for that scene. But
yeah, and we talked about that a lot, especially last year when Kyle and Sutton seemed to be going at each other's necks for a while.
Name them.
We weren't really sure where she stood because we thought forever that's what Sutton was trying to do. She's just trying to get into Kyle's good graces so she can just kind of like buddy up next to her and just go with whatever she's doing. But last year, it kind of threw us through a loop.
Yeah.
And we kind of forgot about that. And I didn't even remember that as we were going through this season. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I think that they want to be friends. And Sutton had that weird confessional in the beginning where she talked about how much she just wanted to like let everything go from last year, be Kyle's friend, be there for her. And then we saw her try to be there for Dorit, and that didn't go very well. So we didn't really know where Sutton stood. But if Garcelle's calling her out on this, and obviously we get the Sutton thing later, Garcelle's calling her out on this, it's like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's merit to this whole thing. And they're discussing Mo and the woman in Mykonos. They're discussing Kyle and Morgan Wade. Was her going to Morgan's show to get back at Mo, which we both agreed, I don't think so. At some point, when does she get to live her fucking life? And they're both like tiptoeing around this conversation. I think Garcelle's tiptoeing to try to see what Sutton's going to say about it, because at this point, she's like, how much are you trying to ride for Kyle right now?
Right.
And it comes out. She's like, I just want to respect her privacy. I don't want to push too hard on this whole thing. And Garcelle's like, kid gloves. I'm like, good, call her out. Like, fuck it. Because it's a double standard for Kyle when it comes to Sutton, because she just wants to be her friend so badly. But now that Garcelle's starting to clock it, normally I would say, because we've seen a million times, Garcelle says something in a confessional that is not mean about Sutton, but it's just a hard truth.
Right.
But we never see Garcelle say it to Sutton's face.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is going to come up at some point where it's like, do you think that,
I think it could go the opposite, where Sutton could be getting ganged up on by everybody else and Kyle staying out of it, and Garcelle calls out Kyle for not joining in.
okay.
Like, hey, this woman wants to be your friend really bad. You say she's your good friend. Why are you not helping her out?
Okay. That would
I
be
think it
interesting.
could go that way instead.
That would be interesting. I would actually like that. But we get Kyle and Bose, and again, it's a shame that these scenes are kind of lackluster, because if the season was hitting and you got this scene, you'd be like, oh, this is a good scene. Instead, it's kind of like, all right, cool, whatever. Because Kyle and Bose are talking, and it's immediately better vibes between the two of them.
Way better.
And I think
No ulterior motive for Kyle.
yeah, exactly. She's not shitting on Dorit's flowers, saying mine are better than yours. And I think what we didn't, and we tried to give Kyle grace this whole season. I think we've done a decent job of separating like her shitty moments to, okay, she's also going through some real serious shit here, which is also a credit to her for finally opening up. So you get the sympathy. In years past, it's like, we get you're going through shit, but you're being an asshole to everybody and not sharing anything.
Not showing us those emotions.
So it's hard for us to get on your team. Now it's a little bit easier. So when she says things like, the first time that we met, Mo had just left. It's like, oof. All right. So you're probably not at your best. You're probably a little defensive. You're probably deflecting. You're probably being kind of rude to people. Understandable.
Yep.
Bose gets it. She's been through some shit before, so she understands where she's coming from. And you just kind of see a different side of Kyle again. She starts to cry immediately, and she's opening up, and she's telling Bose about the whole situation and talking about how, it's strange when it actually happens, because here I am thinking, oh, maybe we'll live in separate rooms and this and that. And the picture of the smooch is more or less, it's time.
Yeah, and we kind of thought that even before the picture, but obviously we're not in that marriage. We don't know what the emotions are like. We don't know what Kyle's holding on to and not. We can base it off of the interactions that we've seen where Kyle is trying to show Mo the things that she's done in the house. Mo doesn't care. We're like,
Could care less.
Tough.
I don't care what color the bathroom is. My condo, I think, is gray. I don't really know.
No idea. Very tough to watch. But again, we're not Kyle, so we don't know what she's holding on to. And this is one of those, I don't want to call it closure moments, but it's definitely like an, oh shit, I've been thinking about this the wrong way moments. And she has it very different. And it's interesting that we get this juxtaposed to PK and Dorit. Whether or not you think that's real or fake, I don't really care. They're already talking about lawyers. They're talking about divorce. They're talking about this and that. Mo and Kyle are not.
Well, the reality just set in for Kyle. Like, this is the moment.
We could still be separated, but this is what he's going to be doing while we're separated. Is there a chance that we come back? Is he going to like this more? Like, a lot of questions immediately pop up in her head, and that's got to be really tough.
Yeah, and Bose sharing her story of, because she shared it before, that her and her husband were getting separated. Then he came down with terminal cancer. They were still separated, but obviously she stepped back into his life in a big way. And then the first time she went to the house, like, he was with another woman there that was taking care of him.
Interesting. So the guy has terminal cancer, gets separated from his wife, and then gets a girlfriend?
Yeah.
That's what came to my mind right away.
Yeah, well, I imagine they got separated. He was exploring other things, and then he got diagnosed. But to sum it all up, this seems to be a pivotal moment for Kyle. I think the final nail in the coffin is when she's talking to Mo later, but I do think that this conversation set her up for the conversation with Mo with a clearer head, kind of knowing where she's going at this point.
Yeah, I was surprised that Kyle brought it up to Bose to begin with.
I was too, but again, that points to her, like, good.
Trying to open up to people and trying to actually authentically talk to Bose and get closer to Bose, maybe show her, like, hey, I'm a little bit different than maybe what Dorit's been portraying. This is who I am. Let me open up and just be real with you. And we know that Bose has no problem with that.
No, she
we
likes
saw her
that.
and Dorit hit it off right away. That's exactly what she wants. So this was a good scene. This was something where you can see that there's a dynamic growing between them, maybe a relationship, maybe a friendship, whatever you want to call it, that they're going to get a little bit closer. And that's what we need to see from Bose moving forward, is getting a relationship with everybody else in the group.
Yes.
She needs to know where they're coming from, what they're going through, because then I think that she is very authentic and very herself. She'll be able to decipher what's real and what's bullshit.
Yeah, she's going to be a good person to turn to.
Yeah, I'm just waiting, and I know it's not going to happen this year, maybe not next year, but if the two of them, Dorit and Bose, are still on the show in like 2-3 years, that fallout's going to hit.
They're going to clash at some point.
They're going to clash at some point, and that fallout is really going to hit.
It's going to be great.
I'm going to enjoy it.
It's going to be really great. But we get a scene back at Drake's. I do believe this is the same spot they were at the last time.
I think it was, yeah.
And it's Dorit and PK. Got to check in with these two. If you told me it was fake, I'd believe you. Do I care? I really don't. So we're just going to approach it as though it's not fake. They've been separated for 3 months at this point. It was amicable briefly, and then it turned awful pretty quickly. I think that that turning point was a 7-page email that we're about to discuss. But Dorit says, my eyes are open for the first time. And something has shifted in you. And PK's like, what does that mean? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What does she mean? She means she sees things differently now. Paul, like, you're supposed to be a savvy businessman. How do you misinterpret that? She's seeing clearly now.
He's not. The vibe I got from this whole scene is he's hyper aware that there's cameras there.
Yep.
He's putting on a facade for the cameras.
It's not a good one.
It's not a good one. But this is not who he actually is, and this is not how he's actually handling this breakup, this separation, this divorce, or anything like that. He's waiting for her to explain more before he gets in. He's asking her those pointed questions, like, what do you mean by that? Give us more.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, and this is a very dirty way to do it, it's almost like he's trying to get her to say something so that he can use that as evidence during the fucking divorce. Yeah, like that's the vibe I got from him, that the only reason he'd be doing this sit down on the show with cameras is so he can get her to, like, maybe he can provoke her in like a weird way that's going to go unknown, but it's going to get her to come out and say something that he can be like, oh, there you go. See?
To add to that, honestly, that makes sense because he goes immediately to, see, a big problem I have is your control issues. Mm-hmm. And that is directly something he'd be like, see?
Yep.
Look, and he goes in to talk about her quote-unquote control issues about the apartment. Because he's like, I was taking an apartment. It's the humblest I've ever been. It's so small. Boo-hoo. What? I don't care. Go back to London. Yeah. Ditch your kids half the time. You think you're going to garner sympathy because you're living in a small apartment? You live in a little apartment? You live in a studio?
Also imagine it's probably not a small apartment. He's not living in a studio.
He's living at Mo's.
Yeah,
like,
we know
what
that.
What are we talking about? They're both in that weird bachelor pad doing weird shit. But he got an issue with Dorit wondering and having input about the apartment that he's staying in.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you're getting separated. I don't think it's crazy that your wife, who you're still married to, wants to have a say or at least discuss where you're living. That doesn't seem that wacky to me.
No.
You know,
You're
like,
also the father of your children.
yeah, where are my kids going to be staying?
Exactly.
Like, it's not that
huge
fucking
point.
weird.
No, it's not.
And the way that he acts is like, see, you're trying to control me again, babe. Like, it's not going to work. She's trying to figure out where you're fucking living. And like, look, do I believe that Dorit can be overbearing and controlling? 1,000,000%. Yeah, totally. But I don't think that it's that fucking nuts for her to be like, dude, where are you living? I don't love that place. Can you look elsewhere? And he's like, see, here you go again. Always telling me what to do. It's your wife, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're still fucking married to her. You still have children with her, despite the fact that you see them once every 2
He's
months.
also broke. That's probably all he can afford.
That's not her problem.
No, it's not.
Like, what do you want? You're going to have to pay a divorce attorney
Well, I think
soon.
it's probably just a hot button issue because he has so many money issues that as soon as she brings up living in a different area, he innately goes, I can't afford that.
But instead it's
But
controlling.
instead it's, oh my God, why are you trying to control
That's
me?
the one I wanted.
Yeah, because he's not going to admit I can't afford that.
You wanted the humblest place you've ever lived in. You fought for that place against your
He
wife.
did, yep.
But, you know, she brings up this email that she received being like, what was this all about? Like, why did you send this? What was the implications of this? And he's like, you really want to talk about this? That's a reminder of what life could look like. It's like, oh, so it's a threat. You're not doing favors. If this is a court thing, you're trying to look good for the cameras for the court. You literally just said that email was a threat to say, hey, get in line.
Yep.
Or this is what you're going to have to do. This is what you're going to have to pay for. This is going like what your life is going to look like. You sent her a 7-page
Did you expect him to take responsibility for it? Did
No.
you expect him to say, you know, I was just in a weird moment and I just had it out?
No, not at all.
No, of course
this is
not.
exactly what I expected from him, but it's just funny to me because he literally goes, this is a threat.
Mm-hmm.
This is what your life looks like without Paul Kemsley. It's like,
So many words,
it
yeah.
doesn't sound that bad, honestly, but what Dorit took from the email is, you're getting a lawyer, you're 100 steps ahead of me. Do you want a divorce?
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to kind of sidestep from just saying, yes, I do. Because he's like, look, you're my best mate. You're my best fucking mate. We've done a lot of fucking things together, you know, and we got to find that friendship again. In my head, I'm thinking, all right, you find the friendship again, the marriage gets back on
That's what
track.
I thought it was.
And look,
I don't know why I thought of that.
me neither.
all.
I'm never going to think that way again because he's like, look, we find out we're friends again. Things are going well. And we're like, you know what? We shouldn't be married anyway. That's just how it goes sometimes. What? Wait, your issue is that you lost the friendship. Then
I
you
also,
find the
like-
friendship and now we're getting divorced again.
There's so many different angles that you can play this way, too. If you want to do that, then you can say, look, we first have to be friends for the sake of the kids.
Period.
Maybe put that one in there.
Sure.
Throw that in there and
Instead
then
of saying,
just say,
"We have
see how
kids."
it goes. Just be like, yeah, we've got kids. We have to be friends. Like, no, it's for them.
It's for the kids.
For the kids. That's a pretty important piece
For
there,
their
Paul.
benefit.
Yep. For their benefit. For your benefit, too.
I love that he's turned into Paul now. Just
Just try to, keep it simple. Try to be friends. Keep it going. And then figure out what you want to do. No. It's a real thing. And this is, he said the same thing about the email. Like,
Yeah.
that's a peek into the future of what it could be like. This is another peek into the future of what it could be like. We could be friends. We're not getting married, or I'm sorry, we are getting divorced, but we could still be friends.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He convoluted it and jumped around, but that's what he
That's
said.
exactly
We
what he
can
said.
figure this out. And yes, I want a divorce is what he should have said.
Yep.
But we get a lovely scene with Bose, Keely, and Lael.
Still love Keely.
Keely's still great.
Yep.
He went even further up in this.
Mm-hmm.
This was a big brownie points moment for Keely. He said all of the right things. I believed him. It felt genuine. I loved how he handled it. But they want to have a dinner with Bose, Lael, and Keely because Keely and Bose, as we all know at home, are moving at lightning speed. We're going from dating to having kids to then saying I love you, which is, I'm not going to comment on the timeline. It's still a little strange to me, but hey, different strokes for different folks. So what we have here is this lovely little dinner. Keely shows up with flowers and Bo's like, oh, those are, nope, they're for Lael. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Good move.
Hell yeah, get her flowers. That's awesome. And Lael comes down and she's happy and so fucking mature. It's so crazy because they sit down to dinner and she's like, so let's talk. Let's talk a little bit. would you guys move in by marriage? And he's like, oh, I'm down to pick up if I need to. I'm in San Diego, but like I would move back here. I would probably want to do that when there was an engagement or something like that. She's like, okay. And how many kids are we thinking? He's like, man, I'd like to have a few, but obviously it depends on your mom's health. She's like, yeah, okay, cool. What's the timeline? What are we looking at time? The questioning and the line of questioning and how composed Lael was while questioning Keely was literally as though Bose's inner monologue came out in a 14-year-old.
Yeah. It's all of the scenes that we've seen with Bose and Keely and all of us sitting at home like, why are you guys not talking about this?
Yeah, talk about this stuff.
Figure it out. Get specific. Stop being general.
Yeah, you needed a 14-year-old.
Lael's like, enough of this shit.
To be like,
Just
I got
it over with.
Mom, I'll take care of this.
She's continuing the long-standing tradition of just being an ultra-adult teenager on this show. We've seen enough of them.
Yeah,
why not?
Jade is one, or Jaden, and now her, and who else?
There was a couple others.
I feel like there's more. I mean, Kyle's kids. I'm sure there's a few other ones. I'm blanking right now, but it's impressive to watch her question him, and I thought that he handled himself perfectly. His responses were great. Obviously, I don't want to pick up and move you from your high school. I want to make you comfortable. What Keely did is where so many other dudes on Bravo fall short. Keely put them first.
Yep.
And it was just nice to see. And I like Keely, and I don't want to jinx it, because every time we say we like a dude, they do something shitty. So Keely, please don't let us down, man. You're riding high, bud.
You're doing the best.
Yeah, stay where you're at, because we're really enjoying it. But Bose goes on to even further what we just said by saying, I never brought a man home, because to summarize, Lael's dad was like Superman to her, and nobody else stacked up. No one else came close to measuring up to her father. So she didn't bring a man home because she didn't want to even try if the guy didn't stack up, which means Keely's the man.
Yep.
So it was a fun scene. It was a really nice scene. I really enjoyed it. But let's get to the Umanskis.
Why not?
We don't get to call them that for much longer.
No. Are we even allowed to call them that right now?
Yeah. Yeah, in this scene we can.
Okay.
In this scene we can.
Sure.
Yeah. It makes me feel nice.
We have to?
Do we have to keep doing this?
To.
Okay, Mo and Kyle are at Mo and Kyle's house.
That feels better.
Yeah, the Umanskis are talking, and how was the trip? Great. Sound baths, healing ceremonies.
That's his fucking first problem.
No. First and foremost, if he was at a sound bath, it's because he was tripping balls somewhere in Europe. Like,
he's like Gen Z girlfriend convinced him to go do it because it's cleansing.
Oh my God, everything just clicked.
Yeah, you didn't think
everything
about
just
that?
clicked. Yeah, he was in Mykonos, and there was a drum circle on the beach, and he went there with his 21-year-old girlfriend.
She doesn't wear shoes anywhere.
Yeah, she's one of those. No shoes.
Yep.
Definitely no shoes. Occasional bath.
A lot of incense.
Definitely a lot of incense. Yeah. Stones. Lots of stones and light therapy. That all sounds legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I missed that. How did I miss that?
I don't know.
But he claims he only partied 5 nights. Kyle calls bullshit. I am also calling bullshit.
Solid 20% of that trip was partying?
No shot.
I don't know about that.
No shot, sir. At least
up to 40.
I think that's low.
Yeah, you think that's low? 10 out of the 25? Well, all right, so which daughter was Sophia over there? I think Sophia was over there.
Well, only not for the whole trip.
I know, but so she was there for a few days. So those days are probably not partying days because she's 16.
Week? Let's say a week.
So let's call those no party days. So we're down to 18 days left.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 14 out of those 18 days he was partying.
I think that he's also limiting what the word partying means. I only got blacked out like 5 days. Yeah, I think that sounds more appropriate.
PK was there at some point?
Yeah, dude. And you get that cutscene to Camille saying that Mo was trying to recruit her husband and PK to go out there. I thought PK was already going, so that was kind of confusing. But she leads it with, he's trying to drag my husband into a single lifestyle. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I wish they played that when it actually happened.
I know. Why not?
I don't know. But that also had to sting to hear. But Mo's just literally fumbling around the kitchen. He's just awkward as shit. And he's like, it was an awkward trip, first without my family. He's like, it looked awkward in that airport. It looked real awkward.
Yep, real awkward.
You looked super uncomfortable.
Your daughter was there.
Yeah, dude. The whole thing, the way that he's going about this is so uncomfortable. He's like stirring the coffee or tea so fucking loud, and they're both waiting for somebody to bring it up. Now, someone's got to fucking say it. And finally, And by the way, he needs to say it.
Yeah.
He needs to bring it up. It was his whole thing, and he finally does. He's like, so Mykonos. It's like, yeah, bro. Let's talk about it.
Yep.
And he's like, I'd never do anything on purpose. Never want to hurt you on purpose. That I do believe. I don't think he was intentionally trying to hurt her, and I think that somebody caught a picture in an airport.
Paul.
It was definitely Paul. And Kyle's like, I know you wouldn't, and we are separated. This whole thing is just super strange. This is the moment where you get her to flat out say, the photo says that he's moving on. And it feels like the rug was pulled out from under me. Didn't expect this whole life. But there is no coming back from this. And I think that this is what honestly, in retrospect, she probably needed this picture.
Yeah.
To be able to finally put a fucking nail on it and be like, I need to get on with my own life.
Yes.
And for all the people like, 'cause I saw this too, it's like she's pissed off about that, but her whole thing with Morgan Wade last year, yeah, fine. She didn't do herself any favors last season with the whole Morgan Wade.
We're not saying which side is right, by the way. We're just
Correct.
talking about Kyle's psyche.
Yes.
We've watched her all year hold on to this idea that they can get back together at any time, and she's just basically prepping the house for him to move back in.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much what we saw for the first 6-7 episodes. Obviously, she talked to Dorit and things got a little bit more real, but she still thinks this. This picture gave her a chance to say shit.
It's closure.
It's closure. And look, it could still happen. They could still get back together. Probably not.
I
but
told
they
you,
could still get
15 years,
together.
they're back.
Yeah. And that, you can keep that door open if you want to. That's your prerogative. But you needed this so that you can focus on your life and stop protecting PK, Jesus. Stop protecting Mo and leaving a door open for him right now because he doesn't want to come back through that door.
Yeah, I agree. And I will also point one more time to the Morgan Wade shit last year was retaliatory against Mo for the rumors. Something happened that we're not privy to.
Most likely, yeah.
She says as much last season.
Even if she was still like living her life, it still doesn't matter because we don't know what Mo is not on some reality TV show, and I didn't watch the real estate
agency
show
or whatever.
I didn't watch that show, but it's not like he was sitting in a confessional saying, "This is how I feel about the pictures of her and Morgan." We didn't get that.
Right.
We're talking about Kyle because we get to watch her week to week.
Right.
She has been tough to watch because she's waiting for Mo to come back.
Right.
Whether or not she did that last year with Morgan Wade is not really a matter.
It's irrelevant to the conversation.
We're just talking about what she needs for herself.
Yeah.
So that she can get over it.
So a lot of people need to stop with well, what about the more? Who cares?
Yeah. You don't have to compare it.
Especially Mo doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Quite clearly. It's not bothering him. So why are we still bothered with it?
Morgan Wade thing happened and Mo moved out.
Yep.
So what do you want?
I don't know. I don't know what people want from that whole thing. I think it's just to drag Kyle. And look, we've been dragging Kyle for 3 years, but now that she's doing good, let's not, like she's doing good. Finally, she's doing what we want, like what we've been waiting
sharing
for.
Intimate moments.
Yeah. So let's just leave it alone. But you get this really emotional hug. It felt to me like the closure hug.
Yeah, it was
like that moment where it's like, all right.
I think it was like, even for both of them, like with Mo,
Yes.
Mo, we've watched and we're like, he's checked out. He doesn't want to do this right now. He wants to go live his life. He's been doing that, but he hasn't told Kyle.
Right.
This photo kind of told her for him.
And this hug kind of solidified.
This hug was like, hey, yeah, that is how I feel.
Yeah,
this picture is a microcosm for what's going on in my mind.
Yep.
And here you go, and now you get it.
And yeah.
Let's hug it out.
Yep. Real hug, tears. And then honestly, you're going to see him kind of like, you'll still see them with the kids and shit, but I guarantee you, guaranteed, the next time you see these two in a room together, the entire vibe will feel entirely different. And that's okay. It's time for them to move on. But everyone's flying down to St. Lucia, and Kyle is excited to get out of the rat race, the paparazzi. She's ready to escape from L.A.
Yep, nice. Kurt Russell?
Yeah, man. Oh, it's such a good movie. It's so good. When's the last time you watched it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it, but
it's
not
so fucking
for a
good.
couple of years, probably. I don't think our audience has seen it as a whole.
The whole audience probably not, but I hope that it's fantastic. It is so bad. It's so great. It's so amazing. But anyway, we get to St. Lucia after meeting in Miami, all this other shit, and not a whole lot happens when we get there. Tilly, that was candy.
Yeah.
That was not pills. That was candy?
Yeah, it was candy.
Okay.
Could have been edibles.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay, but
Just the way that she phrased it was weird.
it was strange, and they looked like maybe they're Mike and Ike's. I don't fucking know. I was
No,
like,
she was really, really talking about her
and
candy.
upset about the candy.
And then she was saying if, one of the nights go weird, it'll be nice to get back at like 2 a.m. and have my candy. And I'm like, are you talking about weed, lady?
I don't know. And then she's also like, I can't. It's your suitcase. Why can't you eat them?
You can't get candy in St. Lucia? Is there a specific candy that you need?
Maybe it's but like, again, if I have my clothes packed for a trip, they're clean. If a box of candy opens up, I'm not like, I can't eat that now.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
You know what I mean? It was sitting on her clothes.
Although she did say when she was a kid, she had a hard time.
Didn't bathe a whole lot.
And she didn't bathe a lot. Maybe that didn't change.
She doesn't strike me as someone that doesn't bathe anymore. Maybe when she's in the poker room at the Viper room, she's not bathing. Yeah. Which is on, you got to go. You're on a heater.
She doesn't wash her clothes. But she probably has people to wash her clothes for her.
I don't understand why we can't eat.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
And I don't understand what the candy is.
We need answers.
I would hope that we come back to this.
I don't think we will.
This is where we're at now because nothing else is really happening.
That's a good point.
We can talk about relationships and Tilly's candy.
Yes.
Because the only thing you really get in this scene, which I actually did appreciate on some level, is kind of the outsiders, right? You get Garcelle, you got Sutton, and you've got Tilly. And Tilly's like, this is a tough group to crack. Like, it is really cliquey, and it is. It's extremely cliquey. And you watch the fallout of Dorit and Kyle, but the minute they're cool again, it's right back into their old shit. Right. And this is a different perspective, and it really shows you how affected by all this Sutton really is. And I think this could go back, even with Tilly, to when they were kids, not feeling like they're part of the cool kid group, and that's what you have. And that is what Kyle embodies for Beverly Hills, and always has embodied for Beverly Hills, is the cool kids club.
I think it's a good point.
And Sutton is brought to tears about it. It's like, all right, so all of this shit with Dorit, with Kyle, with Erika, with that whole side of the group could be rooted simply in the fact that Sutton feels left out of the cool kids, has been trying her best to crack that group. Every time she takes a step forward, she takes 3 steps back because she gets into some shit with somebody. But her shit that she starts is a reaction to not feeling like she's accepted.
Correct. And I think we've watched that pretty much since she came on the show. She's just weird, eccentric, and she's never been given a chance.
Right.
Garcelle gave her a chance. They're close. Tilly, we already knew that they were close. Kyle sort of gave her a chance, but we knew that Kyle was a bad friend.
Forth with it.
Yeah, she was just an inconsistently, usually bad friend.
The thing is, though, if that Augusta trip showed her some more sides of Sutton that she needed to see, like we could have a storyline here where it's like Kyle understands Sutton more now.
Yeah. And we kind of got that in confessionals.
Yeah, and I
need to see it in action.
That's what I'm worried when Dorit starts to chime in and Kyle's back on Dorit's side a little bit. Will she have the biggest tell? Will Kyle have a moment where she steps in and steps up and says, "Whoa, whoa," to Dorit, to somebody else on that boat? I don't know.
Yeah,
Will
she stands up for Sutton
in front of
and
the
that's
group.
A big change.
Yeah, and I think that if we're ever going to get that, this is the best chance because she's the most emotionally in tune than we've seen her in years. So I don't know, but I did feel bad for the the outsiders in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, also just an FYI and whatever you want to call it. Can we stop with the Housewives sharing beds? Everybody gets a room.
Give people beds.
Everybody gets a room.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
You guys have so much money.
Fucking rich.
And Bravo pays for half of it.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking let Bravo. I don't understand. Unless you're going to stick people that don't like each other in the same room, then I'm down.
Let's get to some questions. What do you
say?
Sure,
let's do some questions.
From Blackbeard 601, was Mo's latest BS the wake-up call that Kyle needed to finally move on?
It was.
Yeah.
And I don't even think you can't even call it BS either. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, it looks a certain way. Yeah, it's like a 21-year-old in a pullover. He's single, they're separated. Like, and that even Kyle realizes that. She's like, this is weird to say because you are single. Like, we agreed on this, but it's just weird. It feels weird. So yes, and I think that this was the moment that she needed.
Perfect. I'm going to read this one because we got an answer to a question that we had a couple of weeks ago about a person.
Love that.
This is Robert Taylor, writer of stuff.
Love that. What does he do?
He answered that, but I'll get to that after the question. It's actually...
He answered what he does with the right... Wow.
Yeah. Dorit is cruel to Sutton for 3 years. Sutton says one thing and they want us to think it's worse. Make it make sense to me.
Valid point.
It's a very valid point. That's what we were saying. They've been mean to Sutton for a while and now she can't speak up for herself. Also, I'm a television writer.
Nice. There you go.
Writer of stuff.
You are certainly a writer of stuff. You also wrote that question.
From Jean Marie B 223. Since this was filmed a while ago, why is that funny to you?
It all rhymes.
Oh, okay.
Jean Marie 23B.
Since this was filmed a while ago, do you think Keely is truly wanting to be married to Bose?
Whoa. Yes.
Yeah, we're not doing
Until
any
we see
TV
otherwise.
slander.
Don't do what the fuck.
We're not doing it.
This feels like an omen. It really feels like an omen. The fact that we said every time we do this, the guy turns out to be shitty, and now someone's saying this at the end that it's not real because it's for TV. I don't like this.
Yeah, no, we're not doing this.
Don't do this.
We're not doing this. We got a couple of questions. We already addressed this, actually, but I'm going to read them out anyway. From K Canny 2012 and Mama Mayo 17. Both of them pretty much asked the exact same question. Hasn't Kyle been photographed all over with Morgan Wade? Not to mention that god-awful video. Why is this any different than what Mo is doing?
The timing of it.
It's
what's
also
going on between them.
It's not very different, but it's all, again, we're just talking about whether or not Kyle needed this to move on.
Yeah, and it's
similar.
the time. It's when it happens.
Yep.
Like they dealt with the Morgan Wade shit on some way, shape, or form. So like it. And again, if we go back to that season, something happened that she says is one of the worst things ever.
Yep.
We don't know what that is because she never told us what that is. The Morgan Wade stuff you could say was her retaliating for some shit that Mo did.
Correct.
Like everyone forgot that point for some reason.
They did. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it works with their dynamic moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But that's all I got, buddy.
Well, that's all I got to. I hope it picks up next week. I'm confident. At least something's going to happen. We know that.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, but that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's our show, bros. Gotta go.